In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as we're currently correcting in the $50,000 levels. We'll also be discussing breaking news. The return of Trump to the White House can spark a massive Bitcoin rally this year in Q4, according to the Financial Times. And quoting the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Kaiser, reinventing the nation state in the image of Bitcoin as a truly decentralized nation state. This will be President Bukele's most important legacy. We'll also be discussing up to 99% of the Mt. Gox 8.2 billion in Bitcoin could be sold, according to this analyst, as well as the latest regarding Bankman-Fried's family linked to $100 million FTX scandal as their legal troubles continue to loom. We'll also be discussing German MP criticizes Bitcoin sales and urges the government to hold Bitcoin as a reserve asset, as well as Ethereum ETFs will only be a sidekick to the Bitcoin ETFs, according to the Bloomberg analysts. We'll also be discussing a $100 million Bitcoin incoming. My apologies, 100,000 Bitcoin coming, six figures, according to this analyst, but there is a catch. And speaking of bullish price predictions, rich dad Robert Kiyosaki predicts Bitcoin to hit $10 million after becoming this biggest crash and bouncing back. In fact, he said it is likely very easily going to happen. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show.
Oh my gosh, it's finally almost here. JV is going to talk to us. Crypto news is near. I can't stand waiting. There is no debating. I waited all day, maybe I need a life, but Bitcoin is all I can think about day and night. Hurry, JD.
Welcome to the entire crypto family. If you're new to the channel, very important to subscribe and hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. And if you're new, I appreciate you being here. Welcome to the #1 day of the Bitcoin pod. This is pod episode number 1691. I'm your host, JV, and it's July 5th, 2024. Let me know how your Independence Day, July 4th, Bitcoin Freedom Day was. And we're going to kick it off with our market watch as we do each and every day. We're going to be looking at some of the live charts because we saw some crazy volatility here this morning. We tapped like 53,000 and there's a lot happening right now in the markets. But let's kick it off actually right here on Coin360. Should be pulling up. We can see Bitcoin down just 3% on the day, trading above 56,600. We have Ether down almost 5%, back under $3,000. XRP, Cardano, Tron, and AVAX all correcting and in the red. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. We currently have a 54% even Bitcoin dominance with the Ether dominance at 17.4% with the crypto market cap at $2.06 trillion. That's crazy to fathom. We're all the way back down to 2 trillion. The all-time high market cap was roughly 3 trillion. And right now the Bitcoin market cap sitting just above $1.1 trillion, which honestly is just a drop in the bucket when you compare it to the total addressable market on the planet, which is estimated to be like $900 trillion. You feel me? And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, we got EGLD up 5%, WIF up 5%, and Tezos up 3%. Below that, Quant, DYDX, and VET. Now, which alts, if any, family, are you most bullish on for this particular bull? Holla at your boy. And check out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective on the daily. Safe to say 90% of the market correcting, bleeding, and in the red. And zooming out on the monthly, it gets very bad. Many of the alts in wrecked city, if you see what I'm saying, in the blood red. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, we're all the way back down at a 29. This is good because the lower this number goes, the more likely of a big pump. And lo and behold, we already pumped off the bottom of 53,000 this morning, back above 56,000. Let's see if we continue to pump. Yesterday was a 44 fear, last week a 47, and last month a 75 in greed. So there you have it, crypto fam. But anyways, let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis. We're also going to be pulling up some of the live charts and checking out what's happening with the Bitcoin price. That's right. Here you're actually looking at the 1 hour chart. Bitcoin saw a rebound into the July 5th Wall Street Open as the market digested the start of the Mt. Gox reimbursements. That's right. TradingView tracked a 4% Bitcoin price rebound from lows of 55.5 on Bitstamp, but in fact, we dumped even lower, at least on the Coinbase exchange. That's why I'll be pulling up the live charts here in a bit. This represented the lowest level for Bitcoin since late February as liquidations mounted and sentiment fell close to extreme fear. Market observers, surprised at the extent of the latest downside, pinned blame on the start of the transfers from wallets affiliated with the Mt. Gox rehabilitation proceedings, quoting Dan Crypto Trades. The first transfers have begun. Markets sold off again following these transfers. Now comes the time where we'll figure out how much is getting sold and how much the market absorbs it. Rocky road ahead. But after this massive supply overhang is cleared, that's great for the space in the long run. Exactly. That's the silver lining, family. Now, the total funds involved in the distribution to Mt. Gox creditors total more than $8 billion in Bitcoin as well as Bitcoin Cash. Dan Crypto Trades noted Bitcoin continued to respect a broad downward trending channel, something which even infamously cautious trader Crypto Capo considered an encouraging sign. Quoting him here, interaction with the channels usually means corrective pattern consolidation before continuation. And meanwhile, even more bullish voices within the trading community conceded challenging times for hodlers. Quoting analyst here, Jelly, Bitcoin's higher time frame market structure is being put to the test. As it stands, we're looking at the lower low, but it all depends on the candle close, which coincides with the weekly candle close. A close above 57,000 in structure remains bullish. Now for the Ikimoku, my apologies, looking for the Bitcoin price monthly close. This is one of those indicators, which is also, commonly covered here with the TA. At 56,000, a price fell below the Kijun Sen trend line on the weekly time frames, with the weekly candle sandwiched between it and the upper trend line. Now, commenting on the setup, we had Titan of Crypto suggesting a close below the Kijun Sen on the monthly time frame would require a rethink of the overall bullish market structure. Quoting him here, from the Ikimoku perspective, unless a monthly candle closes below the Kijun and confirms with the following monthly candle, Bitcoin remains bullish. So there you have it, yo. And I just want to share a couple of things with you, some more breaking news, and then we'll dive into the live charts. The return of Trump to the White House could spark massive Bitcoin rally in this year of Q4. Experts speculate his unique economic vision and stance on regulation could create favorable conditions for the BTC and other cryptocurrencies, and this is according to the Financial Times. And in other information I want to share with you, this is a post I made earlier about Max and Stacy. Max and Stacy have the best Bitcoin shows of all time. Hands down, from the Kaiser Report, introducing Bitcoin to the masses in 2011, to countless independent documentaries exposing financial corruption, to their Orange Pill pod, they have touched the hearts and sparked the minds of millions of Bitcoiners around the world. P.S. Kaiser Report has been scrubbed from YouTube. Repost this if you want YouTube to bring it back. And if you'd like to see new episodes of Max and Stacy orange pilling the masses, if you guys can help support Max and Stacy, that is right. A long time ago, YouTube ultimately deleted thousands of episodes of the Kaiser Report. So all of that content is now ghosted on behalf of YouTube. So if you guys can repost this and show your love, I mean, this is my favorite power couple, hands down, in Bitcoin. I also made a post a while back. No question about it. I 100% agree. It's fair play to say Max and Stacy are the most powerful financial reporters in the entire world. You want receipts? Go watch the Kaiser Report. And this was off the back of a post that Max shared. Max and Stacy, the most popular financial reporters in Central and South America, the entire Spanish-speaking world. And this is according to the VP of El Salvador. Shout out to him as well. Like President Bukele has said, their chemistry is perfect and their integrity is unimpeachable. I repeat, their integrity is unimpeachable. And that's a very rare thing in today's crazy world. So shout out Max and Stacy. Now let's check out some of the charts I promise to share with you. Give me a second. This is going to be the 1 hour chart. First and foremost, pulled up here on your screen. You can see we're currently just about 56,400. Currently looking pretty bullish. I mean, we dumped all the way down to the 53, mid 53 range. And look at all those green candles. This is the hour chart, again, brought to you by TradingView via Coinbase Exchange. So right now, things are looking pretty bullish, back on the upward swing, which is a good sign. Maybe the bottom is in. Let me know your thoughts. And zooming out, we'll get different perspectives here. Here's the 4-hour chart. And as you can see on the 4-hour chart, we just had 2 big green candles as well. So the past 8 hours have been pretty bullish. And they say when in doubt, just zoom out. Here's the 1-day chart, family. And you can see right here, we do have a bottom target sitting all the way down at 47.7. Oh boy. And you can notice here on the daily chart, we do got 3 consecutive reds. It looks like maybe even 4 consecutive red candles that we have been correcting more recently here. And zooming out on the weekly, and then we'll take a quick look at the monthly. Wow. So as I mentioned, when in doubt, zoom out. The weekly chart looking bullish as a mofo. We got a bullish flag in the purple. That's pretty beautiful right there. And we also have another one sitting at $119,000. Send it. Oh boy. I'd love to see that. 6-figure milestone. 100K Fiesta in Puerto Rico. Anybody? But nonetheless, the other bullish flag target is roughly at $91,000. And again, this is the weekly chart. Let's zoom out even further. Y'all must have forgot. Respect the pump. Bitcoin's been on a 15-year bull run, family. Look at that chart. I mean, don't get much more bullish than that. Yeah, granted, we had a tiny itty-bitty red candle for the past couple of months. You already know one Godzilla green candle will wreck the bears and send them in hibernation for the next several years. You know how we do. You know how we get down in the crypto sphere. But anyways, fam, let me know your thoughts with some of the live TA and some of the charts and some of the price action. I'll read those comments out loud. Anyways, fam, welcome everyone just joining the stream. Let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss this Mt. Gox sell-off, which is more than likely contributing to this sell-off. Up to 99% of the Mt. Gox's 8.2 billion in Bitcoin could be sold. That's right. Most of the Bitcoin being repaid by defunct exchange Mt. Gox will likely be sold, threatening to cause more downside pressure on the Bitcoin price. The Mt. Gox repayments could add 8.2 billion worth of additional selling pressure to the Bitcoin price, according to finance analyst Jacob King. The analyst said that on-chain movements already point to the fact the Mt. Gox creditors started selling, quoting him here. No Bitcoiner will say this out loud, but the majority of the 8.2 billion in Bitcoin that is set to be distributed back to ex-clients are going to be sold off. The gloomy prediction comes hours after Mt. Gox began repaying its debts in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. The collapsed crypto exchange announced July 5th here today, and you can see 8.2 billion. Quite a substantial number, family. The predictions raised concerns about the price of Bitcoin, which has been struggling to gain traction for over a month. And it's currently trading at roughly 56,000 at the time of the live stream. However, the market selling by Mt. Gox's creditors could potentially take Bitcoin back into the bear market territory, as the analyst shares here. I understand this is controversial, but based on the current low demand volume, this will easily send Bitcoin back into the harsh bear market. The Bitcoin price fell 4% in the past 24 hours. Like I pointed out on Coinbase, we tapped maybe 53.5 before bouncing back to where we're at 56 Gs. And despite the potential selling pressure, the repayments are a positive development for the industry and the defunct exchange users. This sentiment is echoed by Mark Karpelles, former CEO of Mt. Gox, who highlighted this in a July 5th post. Despite the potential selling pressure, the repayments come as a positive for the industry and the exchange defunct users. As he shares, Mt. Gox customers have finally started receiving their Bitcoins after 10 years. I wasn't sure anymore if it would finally happen, but here we are finally. This has been a long journey and happy to see we're finally getting there. Only a bit more. Pun intended. But yeah, more than 9.4 billion worth of the biddies is owed to approximately 127,000 Mt. Gox creditors who have been waiting for a decade to receive their funds. And considering that the Bitcoin price increased 8,500% during the past decade, the majority of the defunct creditors will likely look to lock in some profits. This is partly why King and others expect around 99% of the creditors to sell their biddies, quoting him here. I'd say 99% of those on Mt. Gox are going to sell their coins the moment they get it. Imagine billions worth of Bitcoin all being dumped gradually over the next several weeks. There is no way to spin this to be bullish or news that could offset this. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Personally, I think that's an extreme bias. I don't think 99% of the people will sell, but I would not be shocked if a lot of people do sell. If I was to throw some magical alchemist numbers out there, maybe 40%, 30% are looking to sell. I would like to believe that the rest of them who have been waiting 10 years, even though they have massive unrealized gains, they recognize what part of the cycle we're in right now. We just had a halving. So I like to believe the majority of them are the smart money because they're early Bitcoin adopters. And I look at Bitcoin people as financial educated people who understand this thing we call BTC. In fact, many of them were probably involved in Bitcoin well before we ever got involved, so they're ahead of the curve. But that's just my 2 Satoshis. Let me know your thoughts. I like to believe that they all hodl it, but I got to keep it 100. Not everyone is going to hodl it because everyone has different shoes they're wearing, and we don't walk in their shoes, so you just never know. So let me know your thoughts.
Pump, 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 pump it up. Pump, 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 pump it up.
Just saying. But anyways, fam, next story of the day, let's discuss what's happening with Bankman-Fried's family. This is actually an interesting one. Headline reads, SBF family linked to $100 million FTX scandal. Go figure. Legal trouble looms. Wow. That's right. Sam Bankman-Fried, last name Bankman-Fried. Keep that in mind. If he gets pardoned, then the bank man gets set free. The founder of the collapsed crypto exchange FTX is at the center of a $100 million financial scandal. I'm not surprised, mofos, as Nate Diaz would say, by the misuse of company assets to fund political donations. Emails recently brought to light by the Wall Street Journal disclosed SBS family significantly managed over $100 million in political contributions. The funds allegedly illicitly derived from FTX customers. Sounds like they stole them and aimed to influence the 2022 election. How does that make you feel? They stole your Bitcoin and then they donated it to the Democrats. Interesting how that works. Anyways, the involvement of SBS family was thoroughly documented through emails detailing SBS father, Joe Bankman's involvement in advising financial strategies related to political donations. According to the Wall Street Journal, the emails indicated Joe Bankman was directly involved with the illicit funding operations. Wow. So lock the mofo up. SBF's mother, Barbara Fried, and his brother, Gabriel, allegedly directed fund flows to various political entities and causes. Barbara, the co-founder of the Super PAC Mind of the Gap, alleged directed funds to progressive groups and initiatives, while Gabriel funneled donations to pandemic prevention efforts. Boo! David Mason, former chairman of the Fed Election Commission, noted Joe Bankman's involvement could result in direct legal liabilities under campaign finance laws. In fact, I would dare say if it was anyone besides Sam Bankman-Fried's father, he'd already be imprisoned. You know what I mean? No one gets away with that unless you're criminally protected. Mason remarked that amongst the content in the emails, there was strong evidence Joe Bankman knew about the illegal straw donor scheme. Despite the evidence, the spokesperson for Joe Bankman explained he had no knowledge of any alleged campaign finance violations. Yeah, tell it to the judge. On May 28th, the former FTX digital markets CEO, Ryan Salami, was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to felony charges. My question is, what happened to Caroline Ellison? She's supposed to have been sentenced, and it just was swept under the rug. Like, whatever happened to that? You let me know. United States District Court Judge Lewis Kaplan issued the sentence after Salami pleaded guilty to conspiracy to operate unlicensed money transmitting business and engaging in campaign finance fraud. Salami's sentencing marked another chapter in the FTX saga, following former executives Caroline Ellison and Nishad, who pleaded guilty and await sentencing. So yeah, for some reason, Caroline Ellison's sentencing keeps getting pushed back. And whatever happened to the other Sam, I think his name was Trabucco or something, he got off scot clean, while all the other executives didn't. So I make things that make you go, But anyways, fam, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Bankman-Fried's father will likely go to jail, this guy Joe, or do you think he'll get off the hook, maybe a slap on the wrist? Let me know your thoughts, family. Let's dive into our next story of the day, family. Welcome everyone joining the stream. If you guys can repost this, I greatly appreciate it. Here's the latest with the German government, disregarding their biddies, just as the United States, government kind of doing at the same exact time right now. But anyways, this is interesting because the German MP criticizes the Bitcoin sales, urging her government to hold Bitcoin as a reserve asset, which would be a smart move, right? Joanna Qatar, member of the German Bundestag expressed her concerns on social media on X about German government's decision to sell the biddies rather than holding it as a strategic reserve currency on Thursday. The Bundestag, Germany's federal parliament, is responsible for passing the laws and overseeing the government. Kotar highlighted the potential benefits of maintaining Bitcoin as a reserve, suggesting that selling Bitcoin on a large scale is not only unsensible but also counterproductive. She added she reached out to key political figures, including the MP Michael Kretschmer, Christian Linder, and Councillor Olaf, to inform them of her stance. Kotar also invited them to the upcoming lecture, titled Bitcoin Strategies of Nation States, featuring Bitcoin advocate Samson Mao. Shout out Samson Mao of Jan 3. This event is scheduled for October 17th at the Paul-Loeb-Haus in Berlin, Germany. And by hosting this lecture, Qatar aims to foster deeper understanding of the strategic advantages that Bitcoin can offer to the nation states, encouraging a shift in governmental policy towards embracing crypto as a reserve asset. The German government has been selling large amounts of seized biddies, recently liquidating up to 175 million worth on Thursday, according to blockchain intelligence firm Arkham. However, the government still has over 40,000 biddies valued at $2.3 billion. These German government sales coincide with the anticipated Mt. Gox Bitcoin distributions, which have been putting pressure on the Bitcoin price, and more than likely a big part of the reason why we just corrected all the way down to 53 before bouncing back to where we're currently at 56. So there you have it, crypto fam. Do you think the German government will likely listen to her or ignore her and continue dumping the biddies? Holla. Anyways, fam, I still got more news to share. So we discussed the latest with the German government, the US government. Now let's discuss the latest with this Ethereum ETF and the latest updates from the top Bloomberg analysts. And then we'll dive into our 10 milli Bitcoin price prediction from the rich dad, Robert Kiyosaki. So yeah, here we can read Ether ETFs will only be a sidekick to the Bitcoin ETFs, according to the Bloomberg analysts. That's right. The incoming US-based spot Ether ETFs may only be the sidekick to the more established spot Bitcoin ETFs. So ultimately, Bitcoin is Batman and the Ethereum ETFs are Robin. The inflows generated from the upcoming launch of the spot Ether ETFs could disappoint compared to the record-breaking inflows of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, according to Eric Balchunas, senior ETF analyst over at Bloomberg, quoting him here. Bitcoin is like enough crypto hot sauce. You're like, you know I'm good. These things move together anyway. Ethereum is harder to explain, but I am just seeing it being a sidekick to the biddy. While Bitcoin's value proposition as digital gold is relatively easy to comprehend, Ethereum and its wider decentralized finance ecosystem is more akin to a tech stock, which makes it harder to understand for traditional retail investors, according to Balchunas. That's right. Some experts suggest that the spot Ether ETFs may disappoint because the industry is comparing them to the launch of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, which was one of the most successful ETF launches of all time in history. However, we have Ophelia Snyder, the co-founder of 21 Shares, expecting the Ether ETF launch to perform well in terms of inflows, quoting her here. The idea that the Bitcoin ETF launch is the standard is not realistic. The Ether ETFs will be a successful ETF launch. It will do significantly better than the average ETF. I think it'll probably do in the top decile of the ETF launches ever. However, also noted the investors should adjust their expectations and consider that the inflows surrounding the Bitcoin ETFs launch were far above average. The US-based spot Bitcoin ETFs amassed over 701 million worth of Bitcoin within the first week and over 540 billion within the second week of trading, according to Dude Analytics, as you can see here on your screen. And on June 25th, the SEC chairman Claire Gare said that the Ether ETF launch is going smoothly in the United States. However, Claire Gare remained tight-lipped about whether the ETFs could go live before the November election. You know, Claire Gare doing what he does best, providing no clarity. Quoting him here, it's really about the asset managers making the full disclosure so that those registration statements can go effective. So there you have it. Let me know if you believe Claire Gare, Care Bear. The SEC approved 19 B4 filings from 8 of the ETF bidders May 23rd, but asset managers are still tweaking their Form S1s. The final filings the SEC needs to approve before they go live for trading. Some analysts predicted the SEC could approve the funds for trading as soon as the first week of July, but granted, we're not getting it the first week of July because the first week of July has already passed us with the holiday weekend here. So more than likely, if not next week, it'll be the following week. But I think one thing all the analysts and ETF experts agree upon, it's most likely going to go live sometime in July. Let me know if you agree with that, and by what week or what part of the month do you think we'll get that, green light? And do you think they will be a significant ETF product? You know what I mean? Or do you think it'll be nothing in comparison to what we have seen with the record-breaking ETF inflows from the spot Bitcoin ETFs, which have collectively amassed a tremendous amount of Bitcoin in less than 6 months? They just officially went live. It was January 11th. And now BlackRock is the largest holder of Bitcoin in the world through their custodian, Coinbase. We know Coinbase is the custodian for the majority of the major asset managers, minus Fidelity. Fidelity is self-custody in their biddies, but nonetheless, let me know your thoughts. Well, now for our feature story of the day. Rich dad Robert Kiyosaki is predicting Bitcoin to hit $10 million per coin very easily. So let's break this baby down. You can see in the headline right here. In fact, he recently shared a tweet. This was on July 3rd. I'm going to read it to you verbatim. Boom, going bust. Technical charts indicate the biggest crash in history coming. Prices of real estate, stocks, bonds, gold, silver, and Bitcoin crash. Great news. Good time to buy bargains will follow. Technical charts indicate major long-term bull market cycle will follow. Starting bull market climb in late 2025, raising prices for years. This bull market cycle is the boom gold silver and Bitcoin investors have been waiting for. Their patience will be rewarded. This is the long-term bull market cycle they knew had to come. They know it has come because of the U.S. being the biggest debtor nation in history. They know this long cycle bull market is a coming because they know faith and confidence in fake money is dissolving. They know history will repeat. They know what happened to Germany's Reichsmark, the Zimbabwe dollar. They know more and more people are finally waking up. They know after the crash, the long cycle bull market for gold, silver, and Bitcoin will begin. They know after the crash, gold, silver, Bitcoin will once again begin climbing to hit new all-time highs. Gold possibly 15,000 an ounce, silver possibly $110 an ounce. Bitcoin easily to $10 million per coin. They know to be patient. They know their time has arrived. Take care. Now, what do you notice out of these three predictions here? Notice the gold prediction? Possibly. Notice the silver prediction? Possibly. Notice the Bitcoin prediction? Easily. AKA easy peasy. You feel me? So obviously, Bitcoin is in a class of its own. Also, run the math. I think gold right now is trading at like 2,300 an ounce. So if we go to 15,000, it's a modest 7x. I don't know the exact silver price, but probably something similar, maybe a 5 to 10x. Whereas with Bitcoin, run the math. What's 10 million divided by today's price action of 55,000? Way more than 10x. So he's ultimately saying he knows for a fact Bitcoin is easily going to 10 million. He's not so sure about gold and silver, but it could do it. To do. So he recognizes the king for being the king, the apex predator. Enough said, but let's dive a little deeper. This was actually just published here earlier today. So yeah, technical charts indicate the biggest crash is a coming. He shared with 2.5 million followers on X. Good time to buy the bargains will follow. Technical charts indicate the major long-term bull market cycle will follow, starting the bull market climb late 2025, which would ultimately signify Q4 family, and which is ironic. A little earlier, I shared some news from Trump as well, which was just released via the Financial Times, where it says the return of Trump to the White House could spark massive Bitcoin rally in Q4 of 2024, which ironic enough is right in alignment with that of Rich Dad's forecast. And what's also ironic is Rich Dad and Trump wrote a book together back in the day. I remember because I bought it and I read it when I was a young man. It was called Why We Want You to Be Rich. So, Rich Dad and Trump do got a connection there. The 77-year-old whose 1997 book book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, sold more than 32 million copies. In fact, let me know if you read that book. It had a very significant impact on my life growing up, so I always have a lot of respect for Rich Dad. It helped me think outside the box, you know what I mean? Now, this is the long-term bull market cycle. The investors, knew had to come. Amen. They know it has come because the U.S. is the biggest debtor nation in history. They know it is coming because they know faith and confidence in fake money is dissolving. And that's the key right there. The fiat money, my fam, is fake. It's fake. It's a fugazi. You feel what I'm saying? It's all fake. And people believe it's real. It's the only reason it has any value. It's backed by nothing. The U.S. dollar is backed by men with guns. We call the military industrial complex. You feel me? What happened when Gaddafi tried to create their own bank? Yeah, I mean, for his people. What happened when Saddam tried to create his own bank and move away from the dollar? Didn't end so well. Yeah, I mean, but now we have the BRICS movement. We have many nations looking towards the de-dollarization because they know the dollar is on its unalive bed, if you feel what I'm saying. And Bitcoins have taken over. Bitcoin to be a strategic reserve asset for the United States. If that were to take place, 10 million per coin, easy peasy. Family. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, 100K, 100 million? I think he also said, my apology, I think he said 300,000 in a previous tweet a few weeks ago we covered on the pod. He's also projecting $300,000 Bitcoin by August of this year. July, August, that's like next month, or it may have been September, but I remember it was coming up. He was projecting 300,000 as the top for this year, and he believes Bitcoin's going to be heading to 10 million per coin. Let me know if you agree or disagree, family. And welcome to the Q&A segment of the live show. I'll do my best to read all your comments out loud. Let me know your projections, your thoughts, and I'll also read those out loud. JB, is Nipsey given that by Signal got that dry powder on the standby? You already know, Sam, man. Holy crap. Crabbin and Tuckerton grew up with the crabbers along the bay. It's a freaking small world after all. Amen, Steve. China is in many ways the biggest debtor nation in history. A reserve currency requires a lot of bond issuance, but it has accelerated ridiculously since 2019. Yes, bullish as what? Amen. Amen. Now, I'm not so bullish on gold and silver just because I understand the level of manipulation involved in it, and that the fact is there is a infinite supply. You can say it's relatively scarce, but they're always going to discover more gold. They're always going to discover more silver. They can just invest more into finding more of it. Bitcoin, finite. Limited supply for the first time in human history. A perfect money in which human beings can save and don't got to worry about losing it all like a melting ice cube to hyperinflation. For the first time in human history, you're going to be rewarded for saving. Currently, you hoard fiat currency. What do we call them, folks?
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
You feel me? JBZ disagrees. What do you disagree with, JBZ? Seven Bridges was pretty shaky 50 years ago. Used the stock harvest clams out there. To be clear, I mean the U.S. has become reckless since 2019. No, the U.S. has been reckless for decades. But I digress. Since 9/11, I can safely say the United States has been reckless. You feel me? Myota and Jasmine went long on working on the people. We are working on the... what does that say? The martingale, eh? Doesn't align with the Rich Dad forecast at all. Kiyosaki isn't bullish enough. I gotcha. One was 2024. The other was 2025. Bitcoin price will be manipulated through the ETF. Well, the price is manipulated, but there's levels of manipulation. There's levels to everything. On the surface level, Bitcoin is decentralized. And there's a finite limited supply, so that it can only be manipulated so much. But do the ETFs manipulate the price? Do governments of the world do things to manipulate? 100%. And they're always going to. But at the end of the day, they don't have control over it. They have very minuscule control, and that's why they fear it. Bitcoin severs the heads from the central banking cartels, family. It separates money from state. It's their biggest nightmare. Mark my words.